What would you do if a woolly mammoth suddenly appeared in front of you? Not a picture, not a museum skeleton, a living animal, taller than a house, weighing several tons, with curved tusks, thick fur, and enough power to crush a tree. Now imagine you have no rifle, no truck, no emergency services, and no hospital waiting for you. Could you fight it alone? The answer is simple. Absolutely not. But here is the shocking part. Ancient humans did not need to be stronger than a mammoth. They only needed to make the mammoth move exactly where they wanted. And that may be one of the most unbelievable survival tricks in human history. Stay till the end. The last part will completely change how you think about ancient humans. Because after this video, you will understand that early humans did not survive the Ice Age by fighting nature head-on. They survived by turning a terrifying animal's own size, fear, and movement against it. Picture yourself standing on a frozen plain thousands of years ago. The wind is cutting through your animal skin clothing. Your fingers are numb. Snow is blowing across the ground so hard that the horizon almost disappears. Then you hear it, a deep, heavy sound beneath the wind. Boom, boom, boom. The ground begins to shake. Out of the white fog comes a woolly mammoth. It is enormous. Its shoulders rise several meters above the ground. Its body is wrapped in thick hair. Its tusks curve forward like giant ivory blades. You are holding a wooden spear with a stone tip. That spear might be useful against a deer. Against a mammoth, it looks like a toothpick. If you run toward the animal alone, you are not hunting. You are volunteering to become a very small problem under a very large foot. So why would ancient humans ever target mammoths at all? Because a single mammoth could provide an unbelievable amount of food, fat, hide, bone, and even material for shelter. One successful kill could help a group survive for weeks or longer. But the reward was enormous, because the danger was enormous too. A mammoth was not just big, it was difficult to stop. Its body was protected by thick muscle, layers of fat, and heavy skin. A shallow wound would not be enough. Even a serious injury might make the animal more dangerous instead of weaker. And there was another problem. Mammoths were not usually wandering around alone. They often moved in groups. If one animal became frightened, the others could react too. So ancient humans faced a terrifying question. How do you attack an animal that is stronger, faster in a short burst, and powerful enough to destroy you instantly? The answer was not courage. It was teamwork. Archaeological evidence from different parts of Eurasia and North America suggests that prehistoric people sometimes hunted mammoths and other giant animals, but the exact method was probably not the same everywhere. Some evidence is strong, some is indirect, and some sites may represent animals that died naturally and were later used by humans, so we have to be careful. But one thing is clear. Ancient humans had the tools, knowledge, and cooperation needed to hunt very large animals. Stone-tipped weapons have been found in Ice Age contexts, and some sites preserve evidence connecting people with mammoth remains. The first part of the strategy was observation. Before anyone threw a spear, the group had to understand the animal. Where did the mammoths travel? Where did they drink? Which paths did they use again and again? Where was the ground soft? Where were the cliffs, ravines, frozen lakes, and steep slopes? Today, we use maps, satellites, cameras, and tracking devices. Ancient humans had none of those things. Instead, they watched. They followed tracks in the snow. They studied broken branches. They noticed dung, footprints, feeding marks, and regular movement patterns. A mammoth might be powerful, but it was also predictable. That was the weakness, not its tusks, not its size, its routine. Now imagine a hunting group following a herd from a distance. They do not scream. They do not rush in. They do not surround the mammoths immediately. They wait. One person watches the herd. Another studies the terrain. Someone else prepares a spear. Others move quietly around the edges. This is not one person fighting one mammoth. It is a group turning the entire landscape into a weapon. A narrow valley could limit the mammoth's movement. A muddy patch could slow its feet. A steep slope could make turning difficult. A deep snowbank could trap the animal or exhaust it. The humans did not need to overpower the mammoth. They needed to remove its choices. That is the key difference. If you fight a mammoth in an open field, the mammoth controls the situation. It can charge in any direction. It can turn. It can escape. It can attack the person who gets too close. But if the humans guide it toward difficult ground, the balance changes. Suddenly, the mammoth's greatest strength becomes a problem. Its huge body needs more energy to move. Its heavy legs sink deeper. Its wide tusks become harder to use in a narrow space. The same size that makes the mammoth terrifying also makes it less flexible. And this is where teamwork becomes more important than individual strength. One person may distract the animal from the front. Others may stay to the side, far enough away to avoid a charge. Another hunter may wait behind the animal. Nobody has to be the hero. In fact, the smartest hunter is probably the one who stays out of reach. This kind of hunting requires timing. If one person moves too early, the mammoth may escape. If everyone attacks at once, the animal may panic and charge through the group. The hunters need to keep pressure on the animal without giving it a clear target. They have to communicate with hand signals, sounds, movement, and memory. There is no radio, no written plan, no second attempt if the mammoth catches you. One mistake could turn the hunt into a disaster. And that is why hunting giant animals may have helped shape human cooperation. Large prey animals are difficult for one hunter to control, but a coordinated group can divide the job. Some people track, some guide movement, some carry weapons, some protect the camp, others process the carcass after the kill. Research on cooperative hunting suggests that group hunting can improve success or reduce failure when the target is large, fast, difficult to approach, or hard to escape from. Those are exactly the problems a mammoth creates. But there is another detail most people forget. Killing the mammoth was only the beginning. Imagine the animal finally collapses. The group has survived the most dangerous moment, but now they are standing beside several tons of meat. They need to cut through thick hide. They need to remove muscle, fat, organs, and usable bones. They need to protect the carcass from wolves, cave lions, bears, and other humans. They also need to preserve or transport what they can before the food spoils or scavengers arrive. The tusks could become tools. The bones could become frames or supports. The hide could help make clothing or shelter. The fat could provide valuable energy during the coldest months. The meat could feed many people. So a mammoth was not just an animal. It was food, fuel, clothing, building material, and survival insurance all in one. That is why the risk could sometimes be worth it. But here is the part that makes the story even more interesting. Ancient humans may not always have attacked the largest and strongest mammoth in the herd. They may have looked for vulnerable animals, young animals, injured animals, animals separated from the group, animals trapped by difficult terrain. At some Ice Age sites, researchers have found unusual concentrations of young mammoths, or signs suggesting that people took advantage of animals weakened by environmental stress. But these findings are complex, And not every mammoth bone pile proves a direct hunt. That makes sense if you think about it. A smart hunter does not ask, which animal looks most impressive? A smart hunter asks, which target gives us the best chance of surviving? This is not weakness. It is calculation. And the same principle appears in the weapons ancient humans used. A spear did not need to smash through the mammoth like a modern bullet. It only needed to create a wound in the right place, then allow time, tracking, and repeated pressure to do the rest. Some prehistoric hunting weapons were designed for close-range thrusting, while other points may have been used with more complex spear systems. The details varied across time and region, but the larger story is the same. Ancient humans developed specialized tools for dangerous hunting. Still, even the best plan could fail. The mammoth might turn suddenly, the snow might collapse, a spear might break, a hunter might slip, the herd might scatter in the wrong direction. That means mammoth hunting was never a simple test of bravery. It was a high-risk operation where every person had to understand the plan. The group had to think as one body. And that may be the real reason ancient humans could survive alongside animals that were physically superior to them. Not because humans were stronger, not because humans were faster, not because humans were naturally fearless. Humans survived because they could share information, remember locations, prepare tools, coordinate movement, and learn from failure. A mammoth had more muscle. Humans had more possibilities. And that is the lesson hidden inside this frozen survival story. When we imagine ancient humans, we often picture helpless people running from giant animals with primitive weapons. But that image misses the most important detail. They were not simply reacting to the world. They were planning around it. They studied the land. They studied the animals. They studied one another. Then they built a strategy that no single human could have created alone. A lone human could not defeat a mammoth, but a group of humans with patience, planning, and cooperation could sometimes do what strength alone could never accomplish. And that same pattern still exists today. One person may not be able to solve a massive problem alone. One worker may not build an entire company alone. One scientist may not complete a major discovery alone. One family may not survive every crisis alone. But people can combine small abilities into something much more powerful. The mammoth teaches us that survival does not always belong to the strongest creature in the world. Sometimes it belongs to the creature that can observe, adapt, cooperate, and wait for the right moment. Ancient humans did not defeat the Ice Age by becoming monsters. They survived it by becoming organized. And perhaps that is what makes our species truly extraordinary. Not that we could fight a woolly mammoth alone, but that we understood we never had to.